24/7 until tropical storm force winds start.
Saw police escorted dump trucks. You don't see that very often. Cranes down at the beach. Oops.
Many weeks, right? Here we go again.
And the governor said earlier that the debris operators, they will be operating 24/7 until tropical storm force winds start.
Saw police escorted dump trucks. You don't see that very often. Cranes down at the beach lifting boats up. We just got the very latest hit from the National Hurricane Center. They are now forecasting 10 to 15 feet of surge for Pinellas County. That's twice what we saw during Helene. All right, 180 mile per hour winds. It will not have that wind when it gets here. Okay, that's very impressive. It will not, but it will have about 125, 130. That's the forecast. So here it is now. You can see it down there, way down by the Yucatan. Just a very impressive storm. Recon's been in there. They're figuring out the data. That's all going into models. It's really going to help us get a better point about where this thing is going. But it's coming in this direction. So now we have the hurricane warnings for the entire area in west central Florida. That goes all the way out and includes Orlando. In fact, it goes over the East Coast.
So question,
notice the winds here.
If something happened, right?
As we get into
if something happened to our apartment upstairs, right? Our things and everything, what will happen?
I don't know.
Does people get access to go to our apartment unless we give access?
I have no idea.
10 to 12 feet. Ours is more than that, right? More away. First floor might be. Maybe it won't happen anything, baby. That building been there for forever.
Yeah. I don't think it will, but anyway, let's see what happens.
tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening.
Positive.
But coming down from 180, that puts it at 160 by late tomorrow night on its way down. Okay, and now we do think that there'll be a lot of dry air. We know we have a bunch up here and a lot of shear over top of us. We think between the two of those, it'll get worked in and it should weaken it to about 125, could be a little bit more than that at landfall. Landfall has not changed much with this update, and in fact, they have it moving right over downtown St. Pete and basically right over Tampa. It's not going to make a difference. It's 30, 40, 50 mile wide high at that particular point. Okay. Then it goes all the way across the state. It stays a hurricane. It will weaken gradually, but hurricane force winds all the way across through Daytona, through Ormond, through down towards the Cape as well. The forecast models. There are some models that are a little bit further to the south. The problem with landfall right there over Pinellas County is that it pushes water up into the bay because of the counterclockwise flow, okay? And that's why those surge numbers are so high. Now let's talk timing. They have slowed the time. The models have been doing this for 12, almost 18 hours now. The Hurricane Center forecast has slowed the timing down as well. This now is noon on Wednesday with tropical storm force winds just getting here. So tomorrow's fine. Tomorrow night is pretty good. Tropical storm force winds by mid to late morning on Wednesday. And then from there, things go downhill. So we'll get those 58, 60 mile per hour winds. By the time you get towards about 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, hurricane force winds closer to about 9 to 10 o'clock. All right, so it's Wednesday night that we will see the worst weather come through into Thursday morning. That's Thursday at 2 a.m. That's Thursday at 8 a.m. The highest winds moving out at that point, but still tropical storm force winds. And then the surge will be blowing out at that point as well. So the surge is going to be a quick one this time. Let's talk about those surge numbers. You can see the areas in red that we could see this surge. 10 to 15, we haven't seen it. We have not seen that. So the timing again will be Wednesday. Throughout the day getting worse, and then as we get into the evening, things will get worse. This is the graph. This is our forecast model that we do right here at the station. It's now starting to agree a little bit more with the Hurricane Center, and the timing has the worst weather overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The highest winds, guys, are going to be right around the center, and we're going to be focused on that number. What is that number? It's 125, 130, whatever. That's going to be bad. The further you get away from it, the less wind you will have. North, Same thing to the south, except for this southern part right here, Manatee, Sarasota County. If it takes this, you're going to get a good hit. Okay, now let's get over to Colleen Campbell. She's going to go over a little bit more of what we can expect.
Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, so county by county here, again, the coastal area is going to have the biggest impacts. And if you are in these areas like Pine Island, Sugar Mill Woods, Hudson, Newport Richey, you need to get evacuating now. You have 24 hours, pack everything up, fill up the gas tank, and get on the road, even if it's going a couple miles inland. Some impacts here for Citrus, Hernando, Pasco County, starting late Wednesday into early Thursday. Winds 75 to 95 miles per hour, even greater in some spots. Rain 10 to 14 inches, and the surge 3 to 5 feet for Citrus. However, Pasco and Hernando, they have a 5 to 10 foot surge possible, and you need to know that flash flooding is also likely north of the eye wall and where this storm is making landfall. Moving down to Pinellas and Hillsborough County, Safety Harbor, Indian Rocks, Tierra Verde. These are all areas that are in those evacuation zones, and you should be on the road. Tarpon Springs hit hard by Helene. Late Wednesday, Thursday, again, timing not changing there. The winds greater here, 80 to 115 mile per hour winds. Again, especially along the coast. Even if you go inland by 10 miles, that will help. Surge 10 to 15 feet, just updated. It's also been updated for the surge in Manatee and Sarasota County. They also have that now from 8 to 12 earlier to 10 to 15 feet. Anna Maria Island, they had a mandatory evacuation this morning. So again, please get out of there. Bradenton, same
Feet
thing,
of storm
Petersburg. Again,
surge.
I didn't cover that in Hills, but pretty obvious. All these coastal areas, Sarasota.
I don't really know what that
Make sure
means.
you are
Yeah,
getting
me
to
too.
all evacuations, and we'll go over the inland
I just pretend.
areas
I'm like, oh, wow.
coming up next.
I'm always like, oh wow, storm surge, but I have no idea what it means.
Millions of Americans need now to brace for Hurricane Milton. This is round 2 during a suddenly violent hurricane season. Tampa, Florida is facing unsurvivable conditions, and we know from 12 days ago with Helene, the forecasters mean it.
Really?
Now we pray that it's going to go off course and not hit any populated areas, but you've got to be ready. The storm remains a Category 4. It has been a 5 along the way toward the United States and will likely return to some 160 to 180 mile per hour winds being carried by a Cat 5. President Biden is set to speak at any moment after a briefing that he's receiving by FEMA officials. And of course that's critical because there's all sorts of talk about what FEMA can do and what it hasn't done for Hurricane Helene victims and potentially could be facing more people to help by the end of this week. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Officials have ordered mandatory evacuations now for people in a dozen Florida counties. 5.5 million people in Florida living along the Gulf Coast must leave the area
Traffic's not
immediately.
moving.
Let's watch.
Yeah.
We are leaving. This is the first time, in 12 years that we will be leaving for a storm. But we are evacuating about 11 miles inland. Just can't take any chances after seeing what Helene did. And Helene was 100 miles offshore.
Well, you heard it. A lot of people are starting to prepare for the worst, and they're doing it early. 4 million people live in the 6 counties surrounding Tampa Bay. Some live in mobile homes and RVs, especially vulnerable to severe weather. Florida Senator Marco Rubio posted this. Several years ago, I asked the National Hurricane Center to show me what the worst-case storm hitting Florida would look like. What they showed me back then is almost identical to the Milton forecast now. Again, that's Senator Rubio, Florida. Fox team coverage now. Madison Scarpino is in Banner Elk, North Carolina. Dana Marie McNichols is in Miami Beach, Florida. First, though, let's go to senior meteorologist Janice Dean in the Fox Weather Center. Janice.
Harris, we just got the 11 a.m. advisory. They bumped up those winds to 150 mile per hour sustained winds. And yesterday we had an unbelievably strong hurricane at 180 mile per hour sustained winds. It is going to weaken a little bit as it approaches the west coast of Florida, but the concern is the storm surge. That's going to stay the same. Even if we're talking about a borderline Category 3, Category 4 hurricane when it makes impact, the storm surge is going to be upwards of 10 feet, and that is not survivable in some of these areas. So that's why you're seeing language like catastrophic and please evacuate because you will not survive a 10 to 15 foot storm surge. We are going to potentially see a little more strengthening, but I think that this is what we're going to have, a Category 4, Category 3 making landfall. It's going to interact with a trough. That is what's steering this storm. North of the storm is where we're going to get the heavy rainfall. We could see upwards of a foot. South of it is where we see the devastating storm surge into areas that are extremely vulnerable to storm surge, and that is the Tampa Bay area. 10 to 15 feet underwater because you've got all of this water from the Gulf of Mexico piling into the bays and the inlets, and this is a worst case scenario, and that's indeed what the track is saying. Now we look at places like Fort Myers, up to 10 feet. That's also going to be devastating for them. Hurricane force winds, at least a Category 3, 110 miles per hour for a duration of hours as it crosses over the Florida Peninsula. Still seeing a
That doesn't look
hurricane
that
for
bad, right?
Orlando up towards Daytona Beach, upwards of a foot of rainfall. But the real takeaway here, Harris, is the Tampa Bay area needs to brace for
Surge is
catastrophic storm surge. That is the push
See
of the
Tampa,
ocean in towards these bays and
It's coming
inlets.
straight to
Tampa Bay
Sarasota.
is the most susceptible city in the U.S. to withstand that kind of storm surge.
All right, two things. One, and I'm looking for rays of hope in all of this. I heard